It was time to get started. Time to make some moves. To get out there. To feel it. To live it. To do what we've all been dreaming about doing for so long. It's showtime.
Looking for action on the road. These streets unload my beef. Make it hard to breathe. We roll. We roll.
I can't speak for the rest of the guys. But deep down inside, I have a drive, a want, a need to be out on a racetrack, driving on the edge, finding the limits. Never give up on something that you don't go a day without thinking about. Then it finally came, the first day that I'm going to be back drifting a car. It had been at least 7 years since I'd been drifting on a racetrack, and the drift cars I had before the RX-7 were nothing like it. The ones I had before were actually set up to drift and had a lot less power. I learned how to drift with almost no power at all, which would come in handy in most circumstances. But the cars that I used to drift, the footwork was set up perfectly for drifting, and this RX-7 is built, designed, and tuned to stick to the road and go wherever you point it. It was going to be a battle from the get-go, but not something that scared me away. I'm still all in, ready to go. So the first time back on a track, in that long, needless to say, I was a little nervous. The first race day jitters, shaky foot on the clutch pedal, it was all there. The butterflies, the excitement, just feeling hyper, ready to go. Completely different machine compared to anything else. The gears are really tall. I was able to stay in first gear the whole first session. But learning where the car had torque, where it would push, where it would let off, where it grabs, where it grips, where it slides, that's a whole different thing. It felt like drifting this car was just one big fight from beginning to finish. It was hard to know what to think when driving it.
Perfect.
said and done, I felt pretty good about my first day back at the track. Felt like I still had it a bit. It's kind of like riding a bike. You never really forget how to drift, you just get a little rusty. So the hope was to get to the track as much as possible and learn how to really drift this car. It still wasn't tuned, still needed some work, some fine touches, definitely some alignment work to do, but I think it was a good start. I'm totally happy with that. Nothing bad happened, I didn't break any parts, I didn't hit anything. That's a good day in my book. While I was having fun playing around on the drift track, Jamie's 240 was at Kiwi Performance, getting some final touches done before hitting the road. He'd done an engine swap over the winter, and we sent it out to our friends at Kiwi just to make sure everything was in tip-top shape and ready to rock and roll. He didn't really have any plans to put this car on a racetrack, since it is his baby. But things change. Also, the show season is in full swing. We take every chance we get to get out to a racetrack. It's where we love to be. We learn, have fun, make new friends.
That's what I'm talking about.
We got out to a few days of drag racing, hanging out with some friends there, learning the ropes, getting an in-depth look. It's a small world. People that you know, who know other people that you know, and so on. Really quite amazing. Some of the racers there even recognized Brent. His dad was involved with a few race teams, crew chief for many of them. It was pretty cool to hear old stories from back in those days. In between my first and second time at the racetrack, I had time to do a few modifications to the car, get out to a couple car shows and meets, even had time to build a chopper. I guess you could say I don't get to the drift track as often as I want to. Second time I got on the track, I felt a lot better about it. I felt much more comfortable in the car and ready to go for it. This time we were sticking it in second gear and keeping it to the floor. I brought Jesse to come help me film. Got some good footage, got some good seat time, learned a lot about the RX-7. it happened. The moment that strikes self-doubt into yourself, makes you question what you're doing, and makes you worry about the car. Like I said a lot earlier, the RX-7's a pretty rare car. It's also a very nice car, and expensive to fix. So if anything goes wrong, it is not good. On just my second time out on the racetrack, I got a little overconfident and ended up doing a little bit of a wall tap. Fortunately, it was a wall of tires. But even tires can do a few things to a car. Like most drift nights, I got home pretty late. So I only really checked out the damage to the RX-7 the very next morning. This moment not only made me second guess what I was doing, especially with this car, but it was also the moment that I decided that I needed to build something else. A car that I could take to the drift track and not worry about so much. Something that was just raw steel and power. Something to just have fun with. I began to look for another drift chassis at this moment. I didn't want to waste the rest of the season. I still wanted to go back and drift. I didn't want to damage the RX-7, but I definitely wanted the seat time. So I was still willing to go again. We're getting near the end of the season, and in the garages, me and the boys were up to no good. We pulled in the wagon, put a mean set of headers and a new exhaust on it, made it sound good, and gave it a bit more snap. It was a challenging project, but the three of us working on it all night. This car already looks amazing. Now modifying it to make it go fast is definitely something fun. The best part of it is seeing how it's feeding his inner speed demon, making him want to be faster on the track. It truly becomes an addiction.
It was fun. It's always fun. Brent's always in a good mood about it. He's got the spirit. Oh yeah. Woo! Fuck yeah. Who knew?
But before we go too far and do too many mods and make this car crazy fast, we want to take it out to the racetrack and see what it can do now, how it sits. Full sound system, air ride, the works. Over in Jamie's garage, between the crazy stuff that goes on there, he managed to blow up his SR20. It ended up back at Kiwi Performance a few times, finally finishing off with a KA24 turbo. An amazing setup built by the guys at Kiwi Performance. This thing's got enough guts to even take down the RX-7. And in true Jamie style, it's gonna get pretty wild. The Malibu is getting very serious. New parts coming in daily. Every week he does something else to this car. The newest, biggest thing, some ignition and a set of slicks. He's starting to get pretty serious about it. And I really like the way things are turning out. I've always kind of been into the competition of things, making cars fast, learning how to drive them really good, and to see my friends get into it and enjoy it just as much as I do, really makes me happy. There's nobody else more I would rather go to the racetrack and into battle than with these guys. I'm hoping for something amazing to come out of this. And if anything else, at least we're gonna have great memories and all the videos to prove it. finally had a chance to get the RX-7 down to a dyno and have it properly tuned. This engine was built by a good friend of mine a little over a year ago.
I'm waiting, eyeing, I really want to know about secret you're holding, exposing, I want to know now.
I ran it on a very safe tune until the break-in period was over. This is the next step, getting it tuned and unleashing the full potential of the RX-7. The previous owner of this car added and removed a few parts that I wasn't aware of, so we did the best we could on the dyno. But the guys down at Derwin Performance, they know what they're doing, and against the odds, we were able to get 290 horsepower out of it. And we started initially with 230. That means up until now, I've only been drifting with 230 horsepower. I can't wait to get to the track. This next one's gonna be a lot of fun. Now the day has come. It's showtime. Misfits. We primarily play in drifting and drag racing. Myself leading the way on the drift side of things with my RX-7, and big plans for next season to have a completely different car with a completely different power plant set up for the track and only the track, with nothing but guts and glory. Under my wing is my brother-in-law Jamie. The kid came out swinging. He never drifted before, but the first time he got in on it, he just went for it. He's infamous for sending it, and that he did. On the drag side of the fence, Brent Lagace knows more about drag racing than anybody I've ever met. Has the drive to do everything he needs to go faster. That Malibu has been under some serious fine-tuning this winter, so season 2019, you're gonna see this thing fly. JM, Boombox, our sound system guy, the guy with the style, the lowrider, always had nice wheels, good stance. Now, he's come over to the dark side and wants that thing to move fast. We have some very, very special plans for this car. But 2019 is going to be an absolute blast, and I hope you guys tune in to watch it. So,
It's pretty exciting, I have to say.
you're a drag racer now.
So remember that for next year? Should we do 3 seconds going?
Project 253 is all about. Good people, good times, and cool cars. It's about becoming better at what you do all together with a common dream. But being happy about where you're going and where you are. Enjoying the ride, the journey, the process. It's not about the end goal, and it never should be. It's about the steps you take on the way, the friendship and the bonds you build, and the memories you make. We're lucky enough to be able to do something that we're so passionate about. So we enjoy it to the fullest. Savor every moment. This is us. This is now. 2019. It's time to party. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.